I'm good. You good?
Yep. I just don't have my timer up. Hold on. It helps me stay on track.
Yeah. On track, he says. That's the best joke you've ever said in the green room, my friend.
I have to start on track so I can go off the rails later. If I don't start on track, then what's the point?
That's my secret cap.
I'm always off the rails.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And what are we covering this week, Ron?
We are covering The Losers. And I fucking love this movie.
The Losers is the greatest movie that 8 people have seen.
Oh, I know. It makes me so sad.
I feel like that's probably been like the theme of the past few months of this show is what's the best movie you can think of that like 15 people, including the entirety of the cast and crew, have seen? You know, so like Man from U.N.C.L.E. and The Losers. And you want to talk about a manly way to spend an afternoon back to back. Start off with Man from U.N.C.L.E., end it with The Losers, got a 6-pack going. That's a good fucking afternoon, man. That's a good time. Like you can just feel the testosterone. You got your 6-pack going. You got a sandwich. Just to eat during Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's just the perfect fucking.
These you get some hot dogs are delicious.
We'll talk about Chris Evans in this movie.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe the greatest performance of our time. But before we get into the show proper, we have a question.
We managed to wrangle our question out of someone.
Yeah, thanks for nothing, Bobby. Just kidding. I love you, Bobby. We didn't have any questions or email, so I proposed a question from my lovely girlfriend, Aurora. Hi, Aurora. Who has...
Hi, Aurora.
She is currently listening through active noise canceling headphones to avoid our show, which is the correct call.
That's the best call.
Approve of this message.
Don't use noise canceling headphones to listen to the show. Use them to avoid listening to the show.
Yeah. When in doubt, in case of emergency, noise cancel Screenplay Rewind. It's just like a pair of Bose headphones. Oh my God, Ron and Geoff are within 6 miles.
If we ever change our show art without any explanation, it's just the glass case with the Bose headphones.
That's fucking genius. But her question for us was, at this present time, what video game would you like to see adapted into a movie? And I think this is actually interesting to talk about right now, because we have a slew of them that had been, projected into being an adaptation for fucking ever. Like stuff like The Last of Us is getting turned into a TV show. Uncharted happened, and 15 people saw Uncharted. Tomb Raider, has happened in like a reboot of the Crystal Dynamics type version. So, Ron, what is your answer as far as what you'd like to see adapted at this time?
I think the thing that they could adapt that wouldn't piss me off if they fucked it up, but would be amazing if they got it right, would be Bayonetta.
Okay, I can see that. So did you end up having a direct... I know you were really, really struggling to come up with a director for Bayonetta.
I have someone at the front of my brain, and I can't think of their name.
Have they done anything else notable?
Don't know. I can't bring it forward. It's there, but I can't bring it forward.
Steven Summers, maybe?
Maybe. Does he even direct anymore?
I don't know. I still like Steven Summers. I would watch that maybe.
I do too, but I don't know. That game leaned so hard into just the wackiness of the world and just how insane and stupid everything is, but it kind of takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. It's kind of the perfect mix of just stupid and taking itself seriously. So I don't...
been like a fun director for that is like mid-90s Sam Raimi would have done some like fucking crazy shit with Bayonetta that I'm all about.
But it's also like super high octane action and like just stupid comedy and just stupid stunts. It would be kind of amazing.
Hey, if you want, high octane action and stupid stunts, have you thought of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong? He is probably currently looking for a job.
Well, it didn't work out at Wendy's?
I mean, her name will be pronounced. How can you fuck up Bayonetta? Bayonetta. She's Bayonetta now.
Benita.
She's struggling to keep her costume in place, like poor fucking what's his face as the Fire Lord, Cliff Curtis.
Her high heels are revolvers, Geoff.
Oh man,
I mean, come on.
I know it's a cliche choice because if you have like a nerd property that's weird, you just pick Del Toro for it. But I would still watch the fuck out of a Del Toro Bayonetta movie just because.
Yeah, I could see that. I would at least want him designing some of the crazy ass shit you fight in the game.
Yeah,
you know.
If you think of the director you were thinking of though, at any time, let me know because I'm curious to like who you had like as like were they like a movie director, like a TV director?
Yeah, it's a movie director, but it's not Guy Ritchie. It's someone like that is really good at filming fast-paced action, but just like really like
maybe Matthew Vaughn from Kingsman would be good.
Yeah, that would work. I'd be happy with that.
Watch the fuck out of that.
With creature and like monster design, set design by Del Toro.
Man, see now you got. And so if I could pick any property at all to make into a movie that I think could actually be like realistically good, my idea was to have The Evil Within directed by David Bruckner, who directed The Ritual, because I would like to see how he does like the augmented scenes that are like half, dream and all those like really weird sequences in the second one. I need to watch the rest of the Let's Plays for the second one because they just seem to like all the still frames and stuff. I think he could do just because you think of like the amazing sequences in The Ritual with the convenience store out in the woods.
Yes,
that just like screams Evil Within to me, and I would watch the ever-loving shit out of an Evil Within movie by Bruckner.
Interestingly enough, who would you cast as the main guy in that? You think?
I could see Timothy Olyphant being pretty cool.
I could see that
because he has that kind of dryness to him when he wants to. That would kind of match. I think you can I think the character is kind of interchangeable when it comes to actors. I think he go like a bunch of different directions. But I would just love to see it visually.
Right.
Like the fucking Bloodborne final boss. get like those special effects guys back for the Evil Within. That'd be like a really cool fucking movie. That'd be, and because it's a movie adaptation that's not something because I feel like the studio would be more likely to back the fuck off and not dick with it like they do with stuff like Uncharted and Tomb Raiders. Like the kind of more elite level properties as far as adaptation bait becomes. But yeah, that's my choice.
It's funny that you mentioned Tomb Raider just now because thinking of an Evil Within movie, I think your main guy being Walter Goggins would be pretty good.
Love me some Walter.
And see him in the trench coat and just being sour about everything. I could totally see it.
Walton Goggins is fucking awesome. Funny you went to another Justified alum.
Out of curiosity, since she posed the question, did Aurora have an answer?
Her favorite video game series ever is
it that
Spyro?
cat game? Oh, okay.
Is Spyro. So I think if she could pick anything, she would pick, you know how they made like the animated movies for like Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that? Right. I think she would like to see like a fully budgeted animated movie for Spyro. Which by the way, I was just learning some stuff about Spyro because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about Spyro until I started dating Aurora. Did you know in the most recent Spyro series that Elijah Wood is the voice of Spyro, and Gary Oldman is one of the voice actors in Spyro?
That I did not know.
Isn't that crazy? I did not know that until she
I
showed
knew
me,
Elijah Wood, but yeah, I didn't know. I was kind of thinking, was it DreamWorks that did like Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah, I think so. I could see that.
I could see DreamWorks tackling a Spyro movie.
Oh, and Aurora signed off as she would like the fully budgeted animated movie with Spyro. Would you like the full cast back from that series of games, pretty much? Yes. Yeah. Animated. Okay, she said she would like it animated in the style of Dawn of the Dragon. So there you go.
Is that one of the Spyro games?
Yes, that's like one of the more.
I have a
ones.
PlayStation 1 blind spot because I had an N64. I didn't have a PlayStation. A lot of those character action games I did not get.
Like your Banjo-Kazooies and your Spyros and stuff like that. Yeah.
Medieval.
I never played a Spyro game until just a few months ago. But they're pretty fun. Like there's a couple of they have like just random levels. Like where right now you're playing hockey. Yeah, and there's like little like little quirky levels that are just from that era that don't happen anymore. Sadly, that I kind of miss.
Look up any trailer for any Bayonetta movie or trailer, game trailer. I mean, and just especially the cinematic ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even if they fucked it up, it would be a spectacle. Like it would probably at least look good because that's a major property. The third game's getting ready to come out, and it's got a major fan following.
Oh yeah.
So I think it would at least be big budget. So it would at least look good. I mean, she does all of her shit with her hair. Like her hair is what transforms. Her clothes, she doesn't have clothes on. It's her hair wrapped around her body.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it would be the hair would be like the cape in Doctor Strange or something.
Yes.
Like it would be animated like that. So yeah, it would be fantastic. Also, she's like a 9 foot tall. Well, her story is basically Spawn. She's like a 9 foot tall witch from hell that is like fighting against hell.
So in the third act, she fights John Leguizamo as a clown, right?
No, he has to have a guest appearance. He has to. It's in his contract, I believe.
Oh, it's in his writer.
It's in his writer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to Spawn? I feel like every year they talk about how Spawn is coming back as a new adaptation, and it just never happens because I feel like no one ever actually like thinks back on Spawn as fondly as the people who own the rights to Spawn seem to think they do.
But isn't that what happened? Didn't everyone like make fun of the movies so the people that have the rights quit licensing the rights? Isn't that what happened?
But like I feel like every fucking year I hear there's some edgy, dark, like grimdark reboot of Spawn happening, and you just never see it happen. And it's also like weird. How the fuck did an adaptation of Spawn happen before something like the X-Men?
Is that true?
I'm pretty sure. I think, let's see. Okay, so the first X-Men movie was in what, 2000 or 99, right around that? Let's see.
I want to say 2000.
X-Men, the first X-Men came out in 2000. I think Spawn was in the 90s. Let's see. Yeah, Spawn was 97. Spawn happened even before Blade, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Blade was like 98. Yeah, so the first Blade, how the fuck does Spawn get greenlit before like Blade and X-Men and Spider-Man?
I don't know.
Very weird, because Spawn, it's not your prototypical like straightforward. I mean, you got fucking John Leguizamo as like little clown. Like, it's weird. Yet it got greenlit before like the vampire movie.
It's in the 90s, and they didn't get DeVito for that role.
Missed opportunity. I mean, he was too busy prepping for Detective Pikachu, which never happened. Oh man, you want to talk about the losers, Ron?
No, I kind of want to talk about Detective Pikachu some more now.
Okay, hey. Okay. Detective Pikachu, but it's John Leguizamo as the Spawn clown as Detective Pikachu. Like, children will never sleep again. Let's do it.
I mean, children are already never sleeping again after fucking Ditto, dude.
Oh my god. The Ditto from Detective Pikachu, scarier than anything Spawn has ever fought at me right now. I'm just fucking saying.
Yeah.
You got the fucking weeping angels from Doctor Who looking at those Dittos like, hell nah, we're out.
No, those eyes were so dead that whether Ditto is looking or not, they don't move. The weeping angels just don't move. They don't register it as alive.
Yeah. You want to know why the weeping angels weep? Because they saw the Ditto. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
And that's our podcast with eating everybody. Thanks and have a good day. Oh, God. Yeah. But as we continue our quest, Ron, to seek out incredibly underrated films to get at least 2 more additional people in the world to watch them, what made you decide to pick The Losers as your selection for this episode?
I want to say one of us mentioned it in a previous episode, and I was like, oh, man, I saw that on HBO the other day, and I haven't watched it in forever. And it was just...
I think it might have been me, because I think Bobby, or we got on the topic of what we would like to see adapted into an anime, and I think I said I would like to see more of The Losers as an anime, but this could be me misremembering.
Dude, get these actors back to voice their characters in an animated series. Oh my god.
Netflix will greenlight them.
I definitely wouldn't want it to be Netflix because I don't like that animation. It's true.
It would be
it would get greenlit for one season.
It would be greenlit for half of a season and then get Cowboy Bebop into fucking obscurity. Did anyone watch the live action Cowboy Bebop, by the way?
Some people did, apparently, because they were angry.
Yeah. I was morbidly curious about that, and then all I heard was people shitting all over it. And then I got more curious about it, just kind of like with Morbius.
Right.
Like when Morbius was going to be mediocre, I was like, I don't care to see this. When Morbius is apparently
hated,
like MST 3K selection level bad, I'm interested. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's funny how sometimes movies are like your buddy's gym bag. When they open up their bag, and they're just like, oh god, the smell here, smell how bad this is, and you're like, okay, and then you smell it. Like, sometimes a movie is just so bad you can't not watch it. But
smell how bad this Jared Leto performance is. It's the best.
Normally I don't really truck with what people say because most of my favorite movies are hated anyway. But I was so on the edge of Morbius to begin with. It's like, I really don't care. Then everyone hated it, and I was like, well, I made the right call, and I didn't go see it. So
it's just such a fucking, like, just absolutely absurd idea. Like, the 17th best villain in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, maybe? Feature-length movie. Having a solo movie.
Fuck you, Joker. I swear to God.
I don't think it's the Joker's fault. I think it's Sony's fault for trying to squeeze every goddamn cent out of Spider-Man as much as humanly possible.
I just don't. The only time that character was cool was in the 90s animated series when him, Blade, and Spider-Man, all three had to team up to stop Blade's mother.
Yes.
Because she was the villain. It was like a 3-part episode or something.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's the only time he was cool. He could, like, sense her because he's a vampire, but because he's not a real vampire, she couldn't control him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, much cooler storyline, I'm sure, than what's in the actual Morbius movie.
And the only other time he was kind of cool is there's a game that he just kind of, it's hard to describe the pose that he's in with, like, his leather jacket, but he's kind of, like, all like scrunched up with his back to the screen, his back to the player, but like his head to the side to look forward, and he's hovering off the ground the entire time. That's the only 2 times that he's ever been cool.
I don't give a shit about when Morbius appears as the villain in a Spider-Man comic, let alone when it's just a fucking Morbius movie. Like, who cares?
Do we know, out of curiosity, exactly what happens to transform him in the movie?
I do not know.
It's got to be stupid, right?
Oh, it's gonna be really stupid. Once
he was eating an apple and a fruit bat came down or something. Like, it's got to be something stupid, right?
Yeah, once that movie is cheap enough on home rental or like for free on something, which I'm sure it will be, I'll watch it. Just out of the most fucking morbid of Morbius curiosity.
Now, Sony has a deal pertaining to Spider-Man with Disney, right? Would Morbius end up on Disney Plus at some point? Is Venom on Disney Plus?
Did they ever even put the Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus?
I believe.
I remember they were off of it for a very long time.
Let me see if Just Watch is working. I tried to use it earlier and it was down.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know for a fact that the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies are on Disney Plus. Yeah, Just Watch is down.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they also maybe don't want to taint their image by putting Morbius on the platform.
You said taint.
Who knows? But
let me see.
Let's talk about a good movie. Let's talk about the fucking Losers, man. While you're researching that, I will get our rundown out of the way. So The Losers was an adaptation of a very, very obscure but pretty highly regarded comic book series from Vertigo of the same name. or your director's for the film name is Sylvain. Sylvian. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize, but Sylvain White. And I was just telling Ron in the green room how this is the first movie or show I think we've ever had on this podcast in which I had never heard the director's name in my life before. Had you ever heard of Sylvain White before you scrolled through your research for the movie?
No. When I watched the movie itself and his name came up, it was the first time I kind of ever paid attention to it. And I guess I'm not the only one because I was just like, who?
Yeah, and he's had an interesting like IMDb catalog too when you just scroll through it, because he directed Stomp the Yard, and he directed this, and he basically transitioned out of that to become a perennial TV director, and he's directed like fucking everything you can think of. Let's just scroll through some of these that have been the TV shows he's directed episodes for, and it's always for like a 1 or 2 episode stint. So the new Bel Air series, Billions, Fargo, The Umbrella Academy.
These
Station
are not
19.
inconsequential. These are big,
No.
big time things.
The Americans, like Sleepy Hollow, Empire, The Following, the originals, like The Mentalist, Person of Interest, like every kind of like mid-tier TV show of note of the last 15 years he's directed episodes for.
Things that I have never seen a single episode of, but I know exactly what they are. Like they're so big, I know what they are.
I've watched a few of these actually. Like I watched Umbrella Academy and I watched Fargo, and I'd be curious to see
which ones those are.
Episodes he directed, but he's very good at molding himself along to the tone of the show, because there's also just kind of like varying degrees of tone, and you got stuff like Billions versus Fargo versus Magnum fucking PI. I forgot was a thing.
Yep, that happened.
That is the thing that happened. The Americans. It's pretty good. From what I saw.
So I saw it at one point on Disney Plus, but according to Just Watch, Spider-Man is not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was still under the assumption that they were still kind of iffy about that, just because of how now they've started transitioning in the X-Men stuff, because I've seen how X-Men movies are now on Disney Plus now that they own Fox. They've also started bringing over the Marvel Netflix series such as Daredevil and Jessica Jones and your Luke Cages and whatnot. Maybe Iron Fist. That's probably not been checked or confirmed yet, because who the fuck would go out of their way to watch Iron Fist?
Yeah.
But let's see who. So we have a few credited for the screenplay. You have, so it's basically a fairly straightforward adaptation from Andy Diggle's comic. And then your screenplay was written by Peter Berg and James Vanderbilt. We'll dig into the cast, because I think the cast is the biggest draw of the movie by far.
Oh my god!
When you just look back at this cast, like it's insane. Like it's always cool to go back and look at older movies that just happen to be at a point in time where they just catch like several future A-list people before they kind of blow up.
I mean, a lot of these people are on their way up. Like we knew who these people were at the time.
Yeah.
But they were not like the reason you went to go see a thing necessarily. Not yet, anyway.
Exactly. Also, half of them are in the Marvel Universe, because of course they are.
Well, the Marvel Universe at this point is so large. I'm pretty sure you and I are in the Marvel Universe at this point.
I mean, they wouldn't go that. I mean, well, we have a shot at Sony because they did greenlight Morbius. So we got a solid shot at Sony, but probably not at Disney. So we're on our way.
At some point, they got to run out of new people. They tend to not recast if they can avoid it.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and just run through the cast while we're talking about it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who we love.
Probably my favorite performance of his.
Really great.
Yes.
Zoe Saldana, Chris Evans, Idris Goddamn Elba, Columbus Short, who I feel like I've seen in other stuff. Let me see. He plays Pooch. Like, I feel like I've seen that dude in something else, but he's kind of like one of the odd men out as far as people who like... Oh, so he's buddies with the director because he was in Stomp the Yard. He was also in... did you ever see the movie with Kate Beckinsale called Whiteout? He's apparently in that. I never saw that, though. Did you see that?
I got paid to watch it, and I remember liking it, but I kind of forgot it existed, and I can't tell you a goddamn thing about it.
I mean, really, it was just, being seen for Kate Beckinsale, basically, because...
That was why I signed up, and I remember actually really actually liking it, but I don't remember anything about it.
We have Oscar Hayata plays Cougar. He only has like 4 or 5 lines in the entirety of the movie, but I like Cougar. I think he's fun because if you want just like a character archetype that is so cliche that it's fucking painful that I don't care, it's the sniper character in any action movie. Always love the sniper dude.
Yeah. This oddly enough, this cast. I mean, normally in a movie, there's people that I love, people that I thought, yeah, they did great, and people I'm just kind of like, I could take or leave. This movie, everyone is perfectly cast. I do not want to change a single thing from any of them, and all of them are giving fucking great performances, I think.
You know who's like the weirdest performance that just comes out of nowhere is Jason Patric as the bad guy. Like Jason Patric is so unbelievably fucking eccentric and weird in this movie, and I'm kind of here for it. Do you like his performance as Max?
Yeah, I really like his performance as Max. I'm not really familiar with him much.
Well, he really kind of, unfortunately, his career just kind of took a nosedive because of Speed 2. Like that's kind of what he became synonymous with, and most
I
people
really
do not
like Speed 2.
I remember Speed 2 being kind of dumb, but also like wasn't the first one also kind of dumb? So why is everyone super pissed out? You saw Speed 2 but not Speed 1?
I never saw the first Speed, no.
That's really weird. I think you're probably I'm pretty sure you're the only person on the planet that saw Speed 2 but not Speed 1. You should go back actually. I remember Speed 1 being kind of cool. I'm sure it's dated as all hell, but one of the first movies that Mr. Joss Whedon did script doctoring for is the first Speed movie. Back when Joss Whedon had a career and was a renowned director and writer. Those were good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a fucking out of nowhere casting selection. But I think he's a pretty fun bad guy because he's just playing just like your super super rich sociopathic businessman who couldn't care less who he kills, but they have a lot of quirky one-liners for him. And I think it's a pretty fun performance. And
shall we go over the plan again? Hey, I have an idea.
Dude. Oh, hold on. Spoilers for the losers. If you want to watch the movie, watch it. What do we watch? HBO Max? Is that where we found it on?
Yes.
Yeah, pause show. Dude, when Wade just tosses the dude off the fucking building, and he's like, dude, that was a punch. That was a punch him in the stomach nod, not a throw him off the goddamn 8-story building nod.
The man was a scientific genius. I mean, his weight signaled certain impulse control issues, but the man that was at most a break his fingers nod.
Also, I love the guy who plays Wade.
Yes.
Very underrated actor. So his name's Holt McElhaney, and the main thing I know him from is, did you ever see Mindhunter with Jonathan Groff and Holt McElhaney on Netflix, where they were like FBI investigator dudes from like the 70s and 80s when they went and actually spoke with guys like, fucking Manson and stuff like that? It was that really gritty Netflix show. Did you ever hear about Mindhunter?
No, I've never heard of it.
So Mindhunter, it was like 2, maybe 3 seasons on Netflix. It's kind of up in the air whether it will come back, but it's a fucking amazing show. And Holt McElhaney plays Jonathan Groff's partner, and he's kind of like the grizzled FBI dude as he's trying to like reel in Jonathan Groff as Jonathan Groff becomes like too obsessive over the serial killers they're interviewing. Fucking awesome show. It's directed by David Fincher for a lot of the like key episodes, and he's also I think one of the main like showrunner producer types for it. Fucking great show, and Holt McElhaney's awesome in it. So that's what I know him from. Really really underrated dude. So yeah, this cast is like fucking nuts.
How did you have you cooled down on Zoe Saldana? Because I know for a while she was worse than The Rock for you. Like you just were oversaturated with her.
I think Avatar is probably the thing that made me most angry at Zoe Saldana.
And then she was in Star Trek shortly after.
I actually always thought she was fine. I like her. It just in the exact same way, like I said, like with The Rock. It's like I love The Rock. I like Zoe Saldana, but you couldn't fucking throw a rock between 2008 and 2014 without hitting a fucking Zoe Saldana movie. So I was just like, calm the fuck down. I don't want to see you in every fucking movie. But going back, I like since she kind of like slowed down as far as popping up in fucking everything, probably because of the Marvel movies. Like once you get roped into that, madhouse, you just kind of don't do other movies for a while, and that's one of the reasons Chris Evans wanted out so bad, because I would like to act and not just be Steve Rogers and work out 50 hours a week, for the rest of my life. So like I'm out. So
right.
And also just like seeing Zoe Saldana as Gamora made me grow more of a liking of her. So and going back to here, I think she was well casted for Aisha. Do you like her performance in this?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen her give a bad performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, she just oversaturated herself, which like good for her. Like while the fucking
that's the dream when you're in that profession, though. Just constantly working, constantly
making bank. It's kind of sad that it's a like well-known fact in Hollywood that one of the main discussion points as far as if you end up getting casted for like a caliber of role is they will like literally go look up your box office mojo revenue.
Yep.
Like they'll grind it down to that much of a figure where it's like and your box office revenue means everything in some instances. So
like when Kevin Smith talks about Dwayne Johnson, and like the genius of him is he just pretty much always says yes to everything, and there was one point he was cranking out like 3 or 4 movies, and what happened is he became a recognizable face. He's like a household name. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows what to expect from him. And then eventually he got to a point where he started doing like the roles he wanted to do. And everybody already knew who he was when he was getting cast for those. And he was in a position to, be in those types of movies because of him just positioning himself everywhere. And it's kind of, Zoe Saldana was kind of the same journey for a little bit. She was in big stuff. She might not have been the main character every time, but she was in big stuff and she was there. You saw her.
Yeah.
You
I think she's really good as Uhura too. I like her in the Star Trek movies quite a bit.
But yeah, I really like her in this one. This is probably, again, one of my favorite roles that she's done.
Yeah, she's great. Speaking of The Rock and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, have we covered Rampage?
Not yet. We will
podcast? Be. I'm stunned you haven't picked Rampage. I know you fucking love that movie. I like that movie a lot too, and I'd be down to talk about it.
Oh god, I fucking love that movie so much. Jeffrey Dean Morgan at his Jeffrey Dean Morganiest.
Yes, he is.
Oh my god, like he is
great.
He is about 15 degrees off of his character Clay from this movie.
I feel like his character in Rampage is just Clay.
Who doesn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, it's like 15 years past the Losers where he just like couldn't give less of a shit, and he just seeks out weird fucking
it's Clay who replaces
CIA.
Max in the CIA.
Yes, exactly. So like what's his fucking like unknown CIA level agency they never like reveal or whatever. Like, that's what happens to Clay. That's his yeah.
Oh my god.
Also is it not just hilarious to see Chris Evans in this movie just built like a fucking Greek god? And the whole time I'm just like, man, he's skinny because you're so used to him as Steve Rogers being a fucking like NFL linebacker that it's just so weird going back and seeing movies from him before Cap happened.
I don't remember if we talked about this on mic or off mic, but there was a point where Chris Evans was Chris Evans. He was never out of shape, but he was like a little bit doughy, but he still like looked good and he was still kind of built. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere was this movie. And we're like, who's been giving Chris Evans wedgies? Like, why is he built? And then the next time I saw him was fucking Captain America, the first Avenger.
It's nuts too.
And he's twice the size he is here.
Yeah, it's crazy too. So like, what do you think was the starting point? So I bet he got like ripped for Johnny Storm because that was like what, the early 2000s.
Well, this movie's 2010.
I think the first Fantastic Four movie was like 2005. So he was like kind of on the trek towards getting like fucking shredded.
That's what I think of when I normally think of Chris Evans. But
yeah, so Fantastic Four, the first one with him and Michael Chiklis and all them and Jessica Alba happened in 2005. and he was like, like pretty ripped, but but not on this trajectory. And then just like to see that progression from him as Johnny Storm to him here to the fucking NFL linebacker that is his cap is
when
crazy.
This movie was in theaters, he would have been filming Captain America. So he had like another year of bulking up after this movie. So like in Push, he would have.
I forgot about Push.
Why? He directly references it in this movie.
I completely forgot that movie. I kind of like.
I love
Push.
that movie.
I think we should probably revisit that at some time because
it's a good movie. Everyone laughs when I bring it up. It's a good movie.
I remember liking that movie quite a bit. And
Demon Houndsu, another MCU alum, is the fucking villain.
Yeah, I just completely forgot that movie existed.
What's Dakota Fanning? Is that her name?
Yes, she's the
one of the best performances I've ever seen her give because I've sat through a lot of them because she was everywhere. And it was my job to get paid to watch movies, and they were awful.
She was the kid version of Zoe Saldana and The Rock, and where she was just in between like 2004 and 2010. Every child actor that was a female was her.
Yeah.
You could not get away from her career. It was insane. And then she just never acted again. And I understand why. She probably got fucking burned out by appearing in 500 movies over the course of 5 years.
So based on your description of her, she's the thing. That's what you're saying. every child actor, that was her.
Yes.
Not she was every child actor. Every child actor was her.
Yes.
Oh.
That's what her sister is. Her sister is just like a Carnage symbiote spinoff of Dakota Fanning.
Now this is the movie I want to see.
This is so much more interesting. Dude. The Fanning sisters as Venom and Carnage is much more interesting than Morbius. I'm just saying, we got a chance of getting it greenlit. Like, just call me, Sony. Just call me.
Oh my god.
I like how Morbius is just like the fucking punching bag of every podcast, even us. Like,
we haven't even seen it.
I haven't even fucking seen it. It's just in the goddamn zeitgeist as the punching bag of the moment, and I'm okay with that because I don't really like Jared Leto that much.
Go Petunias.
Listen, we got to actually start talking about the movie. We talked about Morbius more than the goddamn Losers at this point. So we need to get on track.
The discussion that the cast has brought was well deserved because the cast in this movie is insane. We didn't even talk about Idris Elba. Idris Elba. I'd never seen or heard of him before this point. I'm pretty sure. And now you tell me he's in something, I'm fucking watching him.
And you're fucking there, right?
Yes.
Like, it's so great.
Except Luther, for some reason. I still haven't watched it.
Haven't watched what?
Luther.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good.
That's what I've always heard. I haven't gotten around to it.
I'll pick the fucking. I like that show so much. I'll pick it for like a podcast episode because they're like the fucking BBC miniseries shows where it's like each season is like 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So you get through it in like an evening, and it's a season of the show. So like we could totally cover like a season of it for the show. Dude, it's so good. It's fucking great, and that's probably the first thing that I. And a lot of people really like started to see like just how good he was, but you can see it here. Like Idris Elba just has fucking like charisma incarnate in all types of different ways if he wants to, because he has moments in this, like where you start to see
what should
like,
be
the way his character.
Roke should be a one-dimensional character, but Idris Elba does so much with Roke.
He really does, because you have moments, like where he's very charming, where he's funny. And then just on a dime, he becomes incredibly threatening, and you're just like, if you're telling me I have to explode in a fiery motorcycle crash or fight Idris Elba while he's holding 2 giant fucking butcher knives, I'll take the fiery explosion, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry I punched you in the face. I'm sorry I threatened to cut your head off. You feel better? No. Well, I do.
A lot of good one-liners in this movie.
Oh, it's so good. But I was looking at the cinematographer for this.
Okay.
Underworld Awakening. But other than that, not seeing anything. Oh, the Constantine TV series, he did 5 episodes of. But other than those 2 things, I'm not really seeing anything I'm that familiar with. He was the director of photography for Stomp the Yard, so that makes sense.
Yeah, he's got like his entire crew of buddies.
Yeah,
back from Stomp the Yard.
Most people do, right?
Yeah.
But I was curious because at some point in this episode, we were going to have to talk about the fight scene in the hotel that is filmed like a sex scene. And it's amazing.
It's great. And it's also just like fucking brutal. But brutal
with the fire around and the lighting and the way the camera's moving.
And because it's so brutal, but it's weird. It's like simultaneously incredibly over the top and also like kind of realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like the way they're hitting each other, like it's a lot of just like
hurts to watch.
It hurts to watch, and a lot of it is just like picking up a random object that you would find in any hotel room and either smacking someone upside the fucking face with it or throwing it at them. And it's like, dude, this is fucking, it hurts to watch. Like you said, it's like when she hits, you want to know something that makes me cringe every time is when someone gets hit over the head with the beer bottle.
Yes.
Because like, that's become like just a trope in movies. But when you think about how much that would fucking hurt and potentially kill you.
Not potentially. Mythbusters did a whole episode on it.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Did they? Does it kill you like 9 times out of 10? Like,
pretty much. Like, it's the amount of brain damage is terrible.
At the very least, you're gonna go unconscious for like an hour and a half and lose half of your brain cells. That's like the optimistic outlook of being hit over the head with a goddamn beer bottle.
The bottle pretty much never breaks. It pretty much never breaks. It's designed to be shipped. It's designed to be dropped and thrown around, and it's round for a reason. Like round objects are very good. Spaceships are round. They're very good at handling pressure and taking damage and pressure.
Even more indestructible is Coronas because they have to be built to withstand Fast and the Furious films now. So that's like just next level engineering.
They have to be built to withstand Corona.
True. How do you think the Corona company feels about the whole coronavirus naming? You think they kind of got like a
they put out
into this?
They put out a statement about it. I don't remember exactly what it said, but they at the beginning of the pandemic they put out a statement.
I'd be curious to go back and look to see like their like stock percentage drop and their sale. It probably wasn't long because for every Fast and the Furious production, they keep them in business alone because they just ship in 500,000 bottles of Corona for family. But
the first thing that comes up when I Google it, CBSNews.com. No, Corona's beer sales did not suffer from the coronavirus.
Thanks to Vin Diesel and the rest of the cast of the Fast and the Furious.
Coronavirus is not the Corona beer virus, according to Forbes.
Doubt.
I don't know. Have they had Corona?
That whole thing with the bat didn't make any sense, but it's spawning from like just poorly recycled bottles of Corona. I believe it.
There's a reason you always have to like have something with it, like shove a lime into your mouth or something. Like, I gotta get this taste out of my mouth. Give me a lime. Give me something powerful.
Gotta get the taste of this contagious virus out of my mouth. Oh god. Oh Jesus.
Dude, the editor for this movie did Odd Thomas too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That's a damn good movie that's gonna end up on this podcast. Yeah.
I like Odd Thomas. That's Stephen Summers, right? Wait, I think it was.
If my internet would yes it was. You're correct.
I would like to do a month dedicated to Anton Yelkin and just cover like that and Green Room, and man, I miss that dude.
Oh like, my god, Green Room.
How have we not covered Green Room? Might be like my pick for like it might be my pick for
like what happened to Patrick Stewart, guys? Like dude, he used to be so chill.
Professor Xavier ain't fucking around, man.
He's not fucking around anymore. Dude, it turns out he was Phoenix all along.
No. He'd make the Phoenix shit the fucking...
Phoenix is like, no thanks.
No thanks.
Oh, dude.
The only thing scarier than Idris Elba with knives is Patrick Stewart from the Green Room with just homicidal fucking rednecks, man.
No, the thing that makes me cringe every time I watch a movie is a goddamn knife fight, especially with the sound design that usually goes with it.
Yes.
Oh my god, dude. Just watching Roke and Clay fight each other at the warehouse with the plane coming, or like in front of the plane with him just slashing up Clay.
When just every slashing sound effect, like, that's 18 stitches, that's 20 stitches, that's 15, and you're just like, oh, it's brutal.
And even when you successfully defend, you're not successfully defending.
Yeah,
you know?
you're successfully defending from like vital organs by sacrificing your fucking limbs.
By
and
the
it's just,
non-vital
like,
ones, yeah.
yeah, and it's just rough. So I actually like that's one thing I like. So you have an instance of someone adapting what is a more kind of like hard-edged comic, because this is from Vertigo. Vertigo, for people that aren't familiar with them, they're kind of like the adult themed line from DC, where they would do stuff like Swamp Thing and Constantine, stuff that's, you know, like more edgy than like your Supermans and your Batmans and shit.
Right.
So what I like about like the way that they adapted the Losers is, now granted I haven't read this comic, but I would like to, especially since we're never going to get a continuation, which is really sad, because this movie, we'll talk about it later, totally sets up a sequel, because they thought they had at least the ability to make enough money to get a sequel out of it. You know, it would never be, you know, the next Marvel Cinematic fucking universe like box office draw, but nowadays you would have expected this
right.
to, you know, make enough profit to at least squeak out a sequel, you know, something like you know, like Pacific Rim did, you know, like where it wasn't massive, but it made enough to just, you know, get enough overall to, you know, nudge another sequel out of the studio, but it just unfortunately just bombed. I saw an article that was about an interview with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was actually very upset with the way the marketing happened for the Losers. I don't really remember much about the trailers. I actually should have gone back to watch it after seeing that. But yeah, it's just interesting just to kind of see. Did you want to talk about how the poster was actually a nod back to the comics?
Yeah, I was going to say that the poster, it's not a one-to-one recreation, but it's pretty close. It's pretty good. Dude, just looking at these screenshots of the comic, they did pretty damn good casting quality actors that look like the characters in the comic.
Yeah, and I think
their
a lot of them are
design
actually,
and everything is great.
It's really good, and a lot of the I think character designs are actually shown in a pretty cool way, like in the movie where they have the little still frames pop up of like their comic book renditions. It's really neat, which appear to be you know, like it looks like they actually just kind of one-to-one translated some of the action sequences into the movie, which is also a cool nod. I actually so I looked up this comic was actually only like 36 issues long. And with the comic book, you can read that in like fucking, you know, like 3 hours. So I'm considering like tracking this down and just reading it, because I would like to see how it ends, since we're not going to get the ending of the story.
You know how Clay says outstanding like 4 times in the movie?
Uh-huh.
The very first thing I found looking at the screenshots of the comics, the very first one that popped up was Clay going outstanding as an airplane's exploding.
That's great.
So
this was a good time for, so the comic book writer and artists were actually Andy Diggle and Jacques. It's like they ended up becoming kind of like a duo for a bit. So this was a good time for them. They actually wrote and drew what would become the foundation for Arrow.
Okay.
The Green Arrow Year One comic that was actually the kind of like reinterpretation of having more backstory to when Oliver was on the island, and having it be more of like this like just kind of slew of shenanigans on the island that became the foundation for like the first like 3 seasons of Arrow.
Right.
Andy Diggle and Jock. So like this was a pretty good little run for them, where they had like the Losers happen and like Arrow. It's pretty cool. Yeah, because it's very obscure comic books that people just like got a hold of, and you're like, hey, these guys are good. This shit's good. Let's make it. Fuck it. You know. So, and I like that. You know, like they didn't go after this purely because they thought it could be a huge box office win, because it wasn't ever really going to, unless you released this with this cast now. For the time, it wasn't ever going to be huge, but you can see that they just like the material, and they, you know, it's fucking said fuck it, win with it. I like that.
So based on what you just said, though, was John Diggle always a character in Arrow, or is that a direct nod to Andy Diggle?
He's a direct nod to the name of the writer.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Also, I really like the artist. You need to look up, Ron, Jock images of Batman, because Jock was actually the artist for the first run that Scott Snyder wrote for Batman, and Scott Snyder ended up creating the Court of Owls. Okay. Scott Snyder became like the main writer for Batman for about 5 years with the New 52. Jock actually did all of the art for Scott Snyder's first run of Batman, where Dick Grayson took over for Batman for a couple of years while Batman was presumed dead.
Right.
And the art is just like, dude, some of the covers of that are, I'll send you some of them, oh my god, they're all like
Dude, this
just
Joker
fucking
one.
they're all just fucking poster caliber, dude. Like they're some of like the best Batman covers ever are from Jock, and I love that dude.
Well, you know when you're famous and you just got one name that
Right,
it's got to be good.
Yeah, he's like the fucking Beyonce of comic covers, dude.
Right.
It's nuts. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. It's pretty nuts.
so good.
This movie, do you think The Losers was a couple of years too early or a couple of years too late? Because I don't see any reason why this wouldn't have been the big box office smash that it wasn't. Like I don't see anything wrong with this movie and the way it's put together, the way it's written, the way it's, filmed or portrayed. I see nothing wrong with it.
I think it kind of goes back to like what Jeffrey Dean Morgan was talking about with he was incredibly displeased with the way the marketing happened for it. And maybe that was just because, like I talked about how I don't really remember the marketing for this is maybe they just had no presence. Maybe they just kind of like ended up at the 11th hour, like just not really having confidence in it and not really pushing it because they picked a pretty decent time. Okay, so I'm looking at the poster right now. So it dropped in April. That's a fairly decent time to release this because you don't want to release it in like your prime time slots in the middle of the summer,
right,
where you're going up against, like some of the biggest releases of the years, like what Marvel dominates nowadays, those types of, weekends. So like
this is
April.
This is after Iron Man. So
yeah,
comics were in the forefront for movies.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that it just fucking disappeared because if you would release this now with this exact cast, it'd be massive because Chris Evans
couldn't
alone,
afford them. The movie would never happen. You could never afford the cast.
Yeah. Because the cast alone is just massive nowadays, with just like what they would all end up becoming, and it's like just a sad outcome for what is a movie that I really like and isn't asking very much of its audience as far as like it has, I think, a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it always confuses me when I see movies like this that have that type of score, and I just wonder, what were you expecting?
Yeah,
it's an action movie, it's an action comedy. It has good characters. It has a good cast. It has, good one-liners. It is like the ultimate fucking TNT action guys movie that you'd see playing on TNT on like a fucking Sunday afternoon that you watch with your dad, have a few fucking, like six packs with and just have fun. I don't get what the bar to clear is for this type of movie. It's just like, I just feel like Rotten Tomatoes, and we can have an entire podcast about this subject, but I feel like Rotten Tomatoes burning every single movie representation down to a score and a yes or a no, that the fucking movie critics are like, well, this isn't a cinematic fucking achievement, therefore it's bad. And I don't get that mentality. Like just realize what the movie is trying to accomplish, what it's wanting to be. I would much rather watch this type of movie where it knows exactly what it is. It's trying to entertain what it knows its audience is going for, instead of overreaching and trying to be like the next cinematic achievement, but just failing miserably. Like, to me, this succeeds, and it could not be different at the box office. I think this succeeds miles more than something like Avatar does.
Oh yeah,
and like I'm
Avatar and Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar and Avatar. but Avatar is so pretentious in what it's trying to accomplish, and the way James Cameron talks about his $400 billion adaptation of Pocahontas.
Song? Is the song coming through?
The way he talks about his $400 million adaptation of Pocahontas as just like the second coming of Jesus Christ, and I'm just like, bro, it's not. It's just fucking shit.
But I did Titanic.
And I'm just like, how the fuck does, let me look it up. I want to know what Avatar's Rotten Tomatoes score is.
Too high.
82%.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're going to tell me Avatar is an 82% and The Losers
and this is
44%.
48? Oh, this is Metacritic. Yeah. 44 Metacritic.
Like, go fuck yourself, man. That didn't make no goddamn sense to me.
What did they have Spaceballs as again?
Oh shit, let me look it up. That was a fuck. I feel like there's always a 5-minute rant from me where I eventually look up the Rotten Tomato, because it's also, it pains me that the first fucking thing you see when you Google any fucking movie is the goddamn Rotten Tomato score. That alone pisses me the fuck off. You're gonna tell me Spaceballs is a 56%? The 44%? Like, what do you want from Spaceballs? You want to be Saving Private Ryan? You expecting Schindler's List? Is it, like, what's is it Fight Club? Pulp Fiction? What are you expecting out of fucking Spaceballs? It's a fucking comedy.
We can't stop.
It's too dangerous. Oh god! And I just heard.
It's a good thing I was wearing that helmet, because
this is also just like fresh in my mind, because I just got the fucking headlines popping into my Twitter feed last night about how like Avatar 2 is finally happening, and people are talking. It's like why?
It's been so long. Who gives a fuck at this point? You should have cashed in on that when it first happened.
I didn't care from fucking day one, let alone 13 fucking years later. And the sad thing is, I think people are so stupid, it's probably going to make another $2 billion. I'm going to be pissed off all over again. And it's probably going to make more money than fucking Endgame. And I'm just going to be like, just questioning my faith in humanity even more so than I already am on the daily. Wow, we've had some random tangents in this episode. Like, even for our standards, this is like impressive. This is legitimately impressive. We talked about fucking everything. What were we talking about again?
The Losers. I'm not sure.
The Losers. Yeah, let's dig in.
Just dig in an hour.
Let's dig in. Let's get. So, welcome to our green room presentation. Which now I'm just imagining Patrick Stewart overlooking our podcast from the green room. Not okay.
Again, knives.
Knives. Yes.
I feel like the only cast member missing from this movie is Carl Urban. Like,
ooh,
I think that would round out everything absolutely perfectly. Don't replace anyone. He just needs to be shoehorned in somewhere.
Yeah. You know what I have to pick for the fucking podcast is to finally get you to goddamn watch it. But Carl Urban's character in The Boys is basically a loser's character.
Oh yeah,
like just 1000% a loser's
he's
character.
Staring at me right now. IMDb wants me to explore The Boys. It looks like, and that's not something I should have said into a microphone.
Ron's views of The Boys do not reflect the views of Screenplay Rewind and Geoff at large. But he's like a burn CIA agent who's just, Carl Urban to the nth degree and is hilarious and is an asshole, and you will fucking love every second that he's on screen. And how have you not watched The Boys? Because it's awesome. Oh, it's so good.
Oh boy,
man, what a fucked up show. I'm gonna make you watch that show one day. So good. You'll thank me for it.
Will I? Will I?
Oh god, so good. So The Losers. You want to start talking about the movie after an hour? I feel like we probably got a little bit of time, but we got like 10 minutes of talking about the movie. I feel like the movie just speaks for itself, because I feel like you just have to watch it. You just have to watch it because the movie is in the performances. It's in the characters.
It's in the characters. It's in the performance. It's in the action scenes. I mean, just watch it.
Wait, okay. The Chris Evans scene in the skyscraper. We have to go into detail. Because another great thing. So I last watched this movie probably at least like 8 years ago, something like that, like several years ago, where I remembered like the key moments and like what happened, but not like the nitty gritty details of it. I completely forgot about the journey aspect of him singing with it, and made it even better because I forgot about that. I just remembered him, having the sniper scene up in the next to the windows, but not the journey thing. That ends up being amazingly the song for the end credits, which I also fucking love.
Yes. It starts playing too right when he runs out onto the soccer field.
Yes, it's awesome.
When he's like, "Oh hell no!" and takes off running, and then Cougar's just like, "Boss."
It just like fucking between Johnny Storm and like especially this was like the performance that, because I watched this originally when it came out. This was the performance when he was announced as Cap, and I was just like, how does that work?
Right.
because
This is what he was known for, was this type of performance.
He's so fucking good at being a smartass that how does that end up 1-to-1 translating to being Steve fucking Rogers, like the most like stoic fucking character in comics?
Contrast him in Captain America to fucking Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of hilarious. Like, I mean, he's just so good at
like
being an asshole.
You like in the angle of the dangle?
Yeah, it has to do with an individual exposing himself to women in the elevator. Really nasty business. Best disgusted person. Man,
how do you watch that scene alone?
100% Rotten Tomatoes.
At least 98% at the bare minimum with that scene alone.
The one person didn't like the angle of the dangle. 98%.
Yeah. Also, angle of the dangle, maybe the greatest cinematic line committed to film. I can neither confirm nor deny. I have not seen Morbius. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Have you ever seen an EMT look like this? I think all of a sudden he forgot he was supposed to be injured. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah,
and then when she's unconscious, he's like, hey, he points directly to her. Have you ever seen an EMT look like this?
And I love that Idris Elba line. It's just like, dude, if you don't shut the fuck up, you will no longer be able to walk in about 5 minutes.
You really need to get the character Roke.
They're
kids command.
See, that's one thing I really like about this movie too, is I think like the writing is like underrated, because though like the bromancy witty one-liners in most of the Fast and the Furious movies as a comparison point, because it's kind of going for the same type of vibe.
Right.
Always feel
forced.
They have good ones every now and then. They always feel painfully forced, and like no one actually likes each other, and no one has any goddamn charisma, because like now we kind of know half of them do kind of hate each other,
right?
Because of all the beefs that happen over time between the cast members.
They're always also delivered in a way that it's like every one of them is supposed to sound badass when they say it, whereas in the Losers, it just kind of seems like these guys have been on mission after mission together for years. Like you buy that they're a unit.
Yeah, and it also actually feeds back into, like, in a weird way, their character development, because that's part of the thing, is that they're so fucking good at their job that they're in these just like crazy situations, but they're unfazed because they've done it 1,000 times.
Right.
And the fact that they are witty actually isn't, trying to make them look cool or be hilarious for a movie audience. It's just because they're buddies. They're busting each other's balls. Like they talk like they're at a fraternity almost.
Right.
Because that's the way they view being, soldiers and later basically mercenaries. It's just, it's another day at the office for them. And that's a cool like character quirk for these guys that makes them more human, because like that's the last, like when I'm watching Fast and the Furious, and I like some of them, I've been bashing it a bit because I think it's become just a horribly cash grab like level franchise that most of the entries are just like trash now, but I like a few of them, but they never reach that level of like authenticity. I always feel like I'm just watching a movie and I'm not actually watching any real characters any way, shape, or fucking form. They're just archetypes and trying to be like the coolest guy in the room at all times. But when you have 8 people constantly trying to like one up each other as who's the coolest guy in the room at any time, it just falls apart and feels forced, like you said. And I think this like fixes this movie that was seen by 15 people, fixes a lot of the issues that the scripts have in most of the movies like the Fast and the Furious that would, because like fucking box office juggernauts. Like, what's the like lowest grossing Fast movie of the past 5 years? Is like, like just $1 billion instead of 1.5 billion or something stupid like that. Yeah. And it's just like absurd how much they blossom into being this fucking box office draw. But man, like, it's just such a shame, and I really wish that, even if it was like you said, even if it was just an anime and you got almost all the cast back, any continuation of this in any way, shape, or form, as long as you got at least most of these, like, because I feel like
if you had like Amazon Prime or Netflix, they just throw money at every project. You would get the original cast back.
I feel like the only person who might not do it is Chris Evans, because Chris Evans is very particular. Like how when
if it's a role he liked, he would do it. It doesn't have to be like
he just also seems to have a way of like wanting to distance himself. Like when, for instance, when Marvel did What If, like the one person they couldn't get back was Chris Evans, stuff like that. He
Right.
seems to sometimes like to distance himself as he's he's especially now after having done a goddamn decade of Marvel movies.
But to
He
be
seems to
fair,
like
with What If specifically, wasn't he off directing his first movie at the time? Also, when that was happening.
He very well could have, but he does he is the type to where he likes to
Right.
kind of distance himself and do his own thing. But the thing is, if it was like an animated version of it where and it would probably like a limited run of episodes, only like like 6 to 10 or something like that, with how short they would potentially be, the asking price for someone to come into a recording booth and do voice acting is like it's much less involved than doing an actual like production, as far as directing it live and stuff. So any way this could continue, I'd be all on board for.
Right.
And it's just a shame that it's never gonna happen. So like that's like the one thing that like breaks my heart is when you find these like hidden gems that it's just like waiting to be discovered by more people, and you're just like, why? How has Avatar and the Fast and the Furious been seen by 1 billion people and no one's seen the Losers, and just stuff like that just like sucks.
If I had limitless money, even though I know Losers 2 would make no money, I would make the movie just for myself.
Fucking brother.
Bring everyone back to do the next one.
Yep.
I even like the little editing thing that they do to make it go with the music. Or they just edit out a few frames so things kind of jump forward to go with the music.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But
there's a few instances where like and it's not the movie's fault. It's just that's the way every fucking movie was shot around this time.
Right.
Where it has
some of the
this,
fight scenes, like the one between Clay and Roke, was a little shaky cam.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that like shaky cam from that was just like stuck with the time. There's also like the kind of like early 2000s like gloss to the cinematography where everything kind of looks like slick, like it's almost like the Michael Bay effect. Like this looks like Bad Boys 2. Like Bad Boys 2 made every movie for the next 10 years. It was this like action movie comedy vein, like everything in that vein had the Bad Boys 2 look.
Right.
It's just kind of funny how like every generation of like decades worth of movies, there ends up being that kind of like defining cinematic look that becomes the status quo for a bit, and everyone realizes, oh, this fucking sucks. Let's stop doing that. the shaky, your shaky cam observation was like perfect. Like people like, you know what? You know what would be cool? How about if we actually saw what was happening? Did anyone ever think about that? Has anyone ever like, it'd be really cool? Like instead of like interpretive dance moves with John Wick killing people, what if we actually saw John Wick killing people? Oh, that's a great fucking idea, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And
the one that I always go to is Batman Begins, the prison yard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a blur of gray and more gray. Like I don't know what happened in the prison yard to this day. I know he got in trouble with the guards. I don't know what over. Nothing happened.
Oh man.
No, another thing, for everything else we've talked about, like the story makes sense too. Like there is a logical flow and it respects your time. That's a phrase I'm going to borrow from another podcast I listen to a lot. It respects your time with, we didn't spend 30 minutes on how Zoe Saldana was going to get them back into the U.S. We just literally hard cut to it.
Yeah, it cuts. It knows what you want to see and like what you're there to see, and it also like I think also like just like a great what the fuck moment is like how much of a gut punch is the chopper blowing up.
Yes,
like you have like it's such a great undercut like from a writing perspective of like the first act, because like your introduction is this kind of like witty one-liner filled action romp where they're bad boys 2ing basically out of the oh god, what is it, like a cartel type area thing? It's like a compound of like one of the main like early bad guys essentially, like who they're going after, right?
And they basically the drug
like,
lord.
Yeah, that dude. And they like they're basically bad boys 2ing their way while making one-liners in the school bus and shit, and they save all the kids. They go out of their way to save the kids and get them out, and then for them to accidentally be killed in place of what they think are the losers.
Dude, that line Clay has, Jeffrey Dean Morgan delivers it so well when it just zooms in on him and goes, that's supposed to be us. And then it zooms out to the wreckage.
Yeah, because it really,
so good.
It's such a good turn, because you're just like, you're just legitimately not expecting it, because it's kind of like playing into what you expect of the genre.
Yeah.
And that kind of let's go, like save the kids type of trope to open up the movie to endear you to the characters. And when you realize like what happens, you're just like, oh fuck, man. Like
even if you see it coming too, like it's still a gut punch because they even like go back and show you the teddy bear. Like they do all the tropes, but they're tropes for a reason. Like they fucking work.
They work. Yeah. And just immediately see like how fucked their situation is, because they basically, they might as well have been killed because they're completely blocked off. I was
gonna say, Roke has that line where it's like, he did kill us. Right?
Yeah, because they can't go back to their families. They talk, like they even have like the trope of, like one of them has like a baby on the way. Like one of them has, like Chris Evans has his niece. I love you've referenced it a couple of times. I absolutely love the character quirk of him always talking about his niece's soccer team.
Am I the only one that sees his shirt?
I love that. One of my favorite lines in the movie is where Chris Evans is talking about the team that his niece's team is about to be playing, and it's just like these like crazy badass looking 11-year-old girls. And he's like, look at these fucking inmates. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Those are some hard ass 8-year-olds. Dude, I love Pooch. I wish I've seen more of this actor, but
he's pretty good.
Yeah, Pooch
he actually holds it. He holds his own in scenes with fucking Idris Elba and Chris Evans and Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah,
that's great.
This is stupid question day. No one told me. Can you stand? I've been shot in both my legs. What the hell do you think?
What
the hell kind of is?
What does he keep calling? Is he calling him Legless Pooch?
It makes you sound like a pirate.
I think my next Elden Ring character, Legless
Pooch.
Shit.
But
this movie's awesome.
But like I was saying, so the movie, it shows the kids. Yeah, it shows them on their op. The kids happen. Jeffrey Dean Morgan keeps talking about the kids, but he's not just doing everything he's doing for the kids. Also, it's personal, right? That was supposed to be them. You have a heist in the middle of the movie, right when we get the hard drive.
A couple of them.
And we have
like little mini heists.
We have a turning point in the story because fucking Wade knows them. They did an op with him before, so they get made. So now all of a sudden the bad guy, they lose their biggest advantage, right? The bad guys know they're coming. And
also, just real quickly, how amazing is that conversation that Max has with Wade, where he's talking about whether they're gonna kill the guys he's hired for the crew or just fire them. And then when he ends up saying, wait,
and we're back to killing them.
We're definitely gonna kill them. And he's like, wait, didn't you say one of them was your brother-in-law? It's like, I'll take care of it.
It's like, well, what is it, Wade? What, you're related to them or something? One of them actually, yeah, my brother-in-law. Oh. Look, I said I'd kill him, all right?
I love that so much. Oh, genius, dude.
So good. But
also, just like, how good is that? Like, what a way to end the scene of the final scene that you see with the villain of where Max is on like the fucking bus and he gets mugged of his watch and he just the guy has like all the power in the world to do fucking like he almost like caused like a fucking world war and he just holds his hand up to let his watch be taken because like what else is he supposed to do?
Exactly.
There's just like it's like between that and there's like a lot of like they almost what they remind me of is they remind me of scenes you would see in a Shane Black film. Like there are those little moments like they're like The Nice Guys is like fucking full of them where there's like little bitty quirky lines of dialogue that just are kind of unexpected and kind of endear you to the characters because even though they're like hilarious like Shane Black level like one-liners and stuff, it's the fact that they are good jokes. You're watching this action movie and you're kind of expecting it to be like that Fast and the Furious, like very forced, very dry stuff. When they just have like legitimate, like oddball comedy, I always love that.
God,
and,
you are short. Are you standing in a hole?
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, like I was talking about, you can follow the thread, right? Like the story makes sense too. You're not just watching it disregarding the story. Like every plot beat, every element makes total sense.
It's like the way I put it is like, it's not insulting your intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand why no one has seen this movie and why the ones that have, they're just kind of like, eh. It's like Speed Racer to me. I don't get why no one likes Speed Racer.
What were you expecting out of Speed Racer?
Seriously.
Oh, this movie about Speed Racer is crazy and has a lot of crazy performances and has a lot of crazy races. Have you heard of Speed Racer?
Have you seen Speed Racer? Oh,
we're this is not affect us at all.
fucking robot chicken. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's the expectation? What are you expecting a fucking
It gave
dramatic
us Nanja. Come on.
Dude, Nanja. Fucking again, just like the Chris Evans skyscraper scene in this being an immediate 99% on Rotten Tomatoes at the minimum. Nanja gets Speed Racer at the bare minimum of 99%. Just saying.
Was that a ninja?
Nanja.
More like a Nanja.
Yeah.
Dude.
Speed Race. I think we gotta.
He literally just picks up the ninja and throws him out the window, like after he did all of his ninja things. Like, it's amazing.
To continue the trend of, this year being about what's the most underrated fucking movie we could talk about to maybe get 2 or 3 other people maybe to watch it. I think we gotta cover Speed Racer sometime this year because
it's so hard to find. I've wanted to call it, before. It's so hard to find. It's currently available somewhere. I saw it recently. It's available somewhere, but for a long time I couldn't find it anywhere even to buy. It was just buried.
That's unfortunate.
But it popped up somewhere.
It is for free streaming on Canopy, whatever the fuck Canopy is.
Your favorite media streaming platform, Canopy.
Like, what the fuck even is Canopy?
But apparently you can rent it. You didn't used to be able to rent it.
I feel like Canopy might be like a pyramid scheme. I've never heard of this shit. You can rent it on. You can buy it. You can buy it in HD on like Amazon and YouTube for $5. That's a pretty good fucking deal right there. Because Speed Racer is awesome. But
my God.
Digress.
Canopy, stream classic cinema, indie films. Yeah,
like Speed Racer.
Speed Racer.
Like Speed Racer. That's so fucking random. Also, how is there a streaming service in 2022 I haven't heard of? Like, that's fucking obscure.
Because there's a million of them now, between like even Tubi and everything.
Even those weird ones I've heard of, though, I've never fucking heard of Canopy in my life. That's crazy. I'm almost curious to look at their catalog now.
Let's see. Documentaries, Canopy Kids. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Have access.
Did they show The Boys on Canopy Kids?
Oh no.
Oh no, what'd you find?
Overdrive acquired Canopy. Anyone that uses their library card to get ebooks knows fucking Overdrive and how awful it is.
Bad News Bears, that sucks.
It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Pay to rent it. It is not worth it.
What was also cool this time watching the movie, since I told you it's been like a fucking decade since I watched it, I actually forgot that Idris Elba was one of the bad guys.
Oh, did you?
I completely, and that's one of my favorite things about waiting a long time before revisiting a movie is where you can like forget stuff and let it be like a surprise again.
He is the one that says someone is setting us up.
It's great. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking, and they constantly are foreshadowing their final like showdown too between, because you think it's just them kind of like, busting each other's balls a bit and just, letting testosterone fill the room and shit, but like they legit just foreshadow all of their fights later on.
I followed you everywhere, man. I just can't do that shit no more. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot he was the one that turned on him, so I was like, it's a pretty good reveal too. Like they're pretty subtle about like the foreshadowing is like so blatant. It comes across as like there's no way, but he totally is. But it's really cool because it's almost like showing their hand so much that you don't believe it, even though that is what's happening.
Well, not only that, like on the one hand, you understand why he feels the way he does, but he could have also just walked away. He didn't have to fucking sell them out,
Yeah, it's messed up.
So it's like you get how he feels, but he goes about it in such a skeezy way.
Yeah, he really does, and I think when the last thing he's doing is like just stealing all the money. He's just like stealing all. It's like literally $1 billion, right? Isn't that what they stole from the CIA? Is like a literal $1 billion? Is he just stacks that all into the plane?
And a Ducati, 4 snooks and a Ducati. Fucking Jason Patrick, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
He made a deal for 4 weapons of mass destruction and a Ducati.
Otherwise, that would be just like a really dumb moment when that happens, but it so fits his character. You're just like, I buy it. He would do that. Oh, man. What a bizarre fucking character. Love it.
Oh my god, this movie, man! I kind of want to. I'm watching it again soon. Christina wanted to watch it with me, and we didn't get the chance. So I'll be watching it a second time very shortly, very soon.
It flies by too. Like it feels like it's an episode of a TV show. It's really fast paced, and I dig that. That's one of my like ultimate, especially nowadays where it feels like the fucking shortest runtime a movie can have is like 2 hours and fucking 15 minutes, and you're lucky if you get that. I'm just like, I miss the days of 90-minute long action movies that were also funny. Those were good times.
And just fun. Like, it's just a fun movie.
Yeah.
Like,
trying to be
that scene you're talking about, the journey scene with him at the top of the skyscraper, he's literally describing the plot of Push. But he's like shooting the guard, miming shooting the guards, and Cougar is hitting them.
Yes.
He's literally outlining the plot of Push, which he would have been filming this movie when Push hit theaters.
I almost wonder if he just ad-libbed it and then just kept it because it's Chris fucking Evans. Like, what are you gonna do?
And if that's true, it fits Jensen's character. Dude, when they're at the when it shows them in Bolivia working at the doll factory, and then later you see the doll in the background and they come in through the skylight.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, and Cougar kisses both of the women before they drive off.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking love it.
Yeah, he only says like 8 words the whole movie, but I like Cougar a lot too.
Don't touch the hat.
Yeah, he gets very angry if you touch that.
How about when he motions towards Zoe Saldana, he's gonna go hit on her, and Cougar just shakes his head no as hard as he can. Like so much that his respirator like about to shake off his face.
Yeah. Oh, this movie rules. It's the best.
But
fucking see it.
Oh, the fight scene that was filmed like a sex scene later turns into a sex scene filmed the same way, set to the same music. Like, just genius.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's like they're just literally picking up where they left off.
I like the way she gets reintroduced at the end too, like just holding the fucking rocket. And you're just like, yes, it's gonna be that. Is it like when you have a rocket launcher randomly introduced? Yeah, when you have a rocket launcher just randomly introduced in the movie, you're just like, yes, this is gonna be my kind of third act.
And again, it's kind of a trope, at least now, but you get it, right? Like. He's like, he was my father. He was a bad man. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's our father. Which anytime I hear a line like that, my brain always goes back to, your brother was an asshole. He was, but he was my brother.
Yep.
Fucking Die Hard of the Vengeance.
Man, can't wait to watch that again.
Oh, by the way, spoilers for Die Hard of the Vengeance.
Jesus,
that's what the whole movie's about.
Jesus, Ron. What did Die Hard 3 have, like 94?
Oh man, I don't care.
Is Die Hard 3 almost 30 years old?
Probably.
Jesus Christ, hold on.
That's what I'm looking up right now.
Die Hard 3 came out in 95, so it's getting there. That makes me sad. God damn it, dude. What a fucking movie, though.
That's my favorite Die Hard, though.
How does Die Hard 3 have a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes, Ron?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Who fucking is putting scores in these older movies? They're always so bad. That's insane. That's actually, hey, like if Elon wanted to be the hero, just buy Rotten Tomatoes to shut them down.
Shut it down.
Just shut it down.
That's what I would do with unlimited money. I take it back.
Don't buy fucking Twitter for no reason. Go buy Rotten Tomatoes and shut it down because all it does is ruin fucking movies. It's the worst.
It really is.
Let's
on that note, I'm also kind of fucking sick of Metacritic.
Metacritic I never even look at, so it's just kind of there.
It's real big in the video game universe.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Everyone looks at the Metacritic score for
I would buy that and shut it down too, because they have no value. Like, how about you quit basing your opinion on something on a fucking random percentage site, on an aggregator site, and maybe just like either actually play the thing or read a review where you can see someone's like actual fucking human interaction instead of their fucking percentage yes or no score.
I told you this once a long time ago, but we brought up Speed Racer a minute ago. I knew a guy at one time, world's biggest Speed Racer fan. He used to collect like everything Speed Racer. He has like all the Mach 5 toys and everything like in boxes and like display cases and stuff. And he never saw the movie because of what the critics said and like Rotten Tomatoes.
Such a travesty.
And I'm like,
dude,
this is your life, and you never saw the movie just out of curiosity?
If you're invested, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
It's fucking like an hour and a half. Just fucking watch it. And if you hate it, you hate it. But like, why would you remove yourself from the opportunity to like it? Because we all have those movies where everyone else hates it, and it just happens to be for you, and you like it. And
we've all seen the Cloverfield Paradox. Come on.
I forget. Did you like Cloverfield Paradox? I did not like Cloverfield Paradox.
I did not like Cloverfield Paradox.
I feel like that might be the exception to the rule. I feel like maybe nobody actually liked Cloverfield Paradox. I was like, this movie sucks so hard. The only way we can make it a thing
is the Super Bowl.
Surprise Netflix announcement for the Super Bowl ads. Yeah.
Like, what? No, I went and watched it, and we're like, oh, right, this is just as bad as football itself is.
It was actually a sleight of hand because the actual paradox was the Netflix Super Bowl trailer. It was the trailer. It was the marketing. That was the paradox. Yeah. The Super Bowl ad brought to you by M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, shit. I think I've kind of covered everything with the Losers. Go fucking watch it. It's awesome.
I just want to sit here and quote all the quotes.
It's great.
All the quotes are so good.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm also, hey, at the very least, we can thank, as much as it became just an absolute shit show, at least The Walking Dead made Jeffrey Dean Morgan more of a name. Because if Jeffrey Dean Morgan had just continued to be, I still think he deserves more roles than he gets just because of how awesome he is. But at least he's more kind of like in pop culture now just because of The Walking Dead. So thank them for that, because I always love that dude.
One of the taglines for the movie was, you don't give them orders, you just turn them loose.
That's great.
That's a great tagline.
Yeah, dude, I think I've decided I'm going to track down this comic, even if I have to buy even if it's not digital, even if it's like a collected hardback or something, I would totally read this.
It's got to be on Comixology.
Probably. It's got to be somewhere. But yeah, if you would like to follow, I'm assuming you didn't have any other topics you want to talk about?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, fucking everything. This is like a grab bag of a show.
Yeah,
I don't think we talked about the movie until like 50 minutes in. It's crazy.
Well, like you said, it pretty much speaks for itself. Like, just fucking watch it.
Yeah. If you like comedy action movies at all, there are stuff there is stuff in here that you will enjoy. Just watch at the very least YouTube Chris Evans The Loser, and you'll find that skyscraper scene. And holy fuck, is it the best.
Yeah, they're on Comixology.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta track it down.
I'm trying to see.
If you would like, what are you researching?
Well, what I wanted to know, platforms? They've just got like book 1 and book 2, and I was wanting to know if it's like a collection.
It probably is. It was only 36 issues, so it's probably 2 of those kind of like collected graphic novel things.
It's 297 fucking pages, so it better be a collection.
That's nothing for a comic, though. Like, you read a comic page in like fucking 15 seconds.
Usually individual comics are not that long. I am not finding anything that tells me.
How many pages did you say it was?
297.
I think the average comic is 21 pages.
That's what I was thinking. It's like somewhere around 15, 20 pages.
That could be like the first half of the comic, because I think the comic ran for, if I remember right, I think the Wikipedia page.
Oh, right here, the very last thing. Very last thing buried. Issues. It collects issues 1 through 12.
Okay.
So then book 2 must be the rest of them.
Yeah, or if it was 36 issues, they split it into 3, which I just want to read them. I just want to see how.
It says book 1 of 2.
That's weird.
And then Losers.
Unless I just read it wrong or misremembered it. But,
13 through 32 is book 2.
There you go. I knew it was something in the 30s. So yeah, I gotta track those down. I gotta see what happens, because I'm curious now. Because the movie, it's another like unfortunate thing. Like the movie has a resolution to it, but the storyline with Max doesn't get wrapped up because they thought they were getting another movie, and it sucks.
I want to know what the fuck is up with his hand. Neither one of us have mentioned his hand yet.
I researched that a bit.
Did you?
It is a different, like, the hand thing isn't in the comic.
Really?
The scar, from what I read, it's a different thing that is happening with Max that I won't spoil because I when I was researching it, I accidentally had it kind of spoiled for me. But it is not the same. They could have like kind of retconned it into being a twist type thing for the second movie, but it is not present in the first Losers movie. As far as like what his character thing is what he's up to in the comic, which is kind of cool that they either were saving it as a twist for the second movie or just changing it because it is interesting from what I read. But I need to read it in its entirety to actually have like a full opinion on it. But it did sound pretty cool, and I want to check it out.
It's $20 to buy both books. So
yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Like for what, 30 issues, 32 issues of a comic,
32 issues of the comics. That's absolutely, they're practically giving it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I'll be checking that out here soon. If you would like to check out more of the podcasts, you can always follow us for show updates over on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. That is where we will be announcing our next episode here in a couple of weeks or so. We're going to be taking a bit of a break. Our next episode is going to be coming in about 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks. We're basically just like skipping an episode, but we'll be back. It's basically only like a 2-week hiatus from where you would have been getting it originally since we were a bi-weekly show. Any ratings, reviews, anything like that you can give us on any platform you found us on is greatly appreciated. We always appreciate that. And Ron, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I am at RonSenseTV on Twitter, and I don't know, Geoff. I just announced not too long ago that I was kind of done with YouTube and Twitch because it's been like since December since I've done anything. I'm kind of getting the itch. I think I'm kind of over my burnout a little bit.
Really?
I think yeah. So I think I'm just gonna come back at it a little bit differently so I don't get burned out again because I was doing a ton of shit before.
Yeah, your schedule is not so like you're basically saying like maybe like do it when you're feeling like just having fun with it instead of like setting a schedule and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a YouTube schedule, I had a Twitch schedule, I had all kinds of shit going on. There was other content I was wanting to do, and it was turning into a job that wasn't paying. So as I was putting in about, that many hours into it. So, but I don't know. I found there's some Mega Man X challenge runs I want to do. I found that Mega Man X randomizer I want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been practicing some challenge stuff on Mega Man X the last couple of nights.
Nice.
So I don't know. Maybe look me up on YouTube.
Orders. You don't give Ron orders. You just turn them loose.
Exactly.
And we appreciate everyone who has listened, and have a good night.